All right, this is David Aguirre, Director of Sales, Western Region. I'm aiming to do my AMP certification here. Let's hope that the video doesn't run too long because I have limited space on my phone. So first and foremost, we're going to discuss with you, Mr. Dealer, some of the things we talked about in our last meeting. We had discussed overall your strategy here at your Hyundai store and which models you thought were most impactful and what we could do to really move those opportunities forward and provide better experiences for our customer base. So the first thing that I wanted to identify for you is the type of salesperson that you have coming into the store, right? If they came in as a customer and said, hey, I'm looking for a Hyundai Sonata, for example, what would you talk to that customer about if you were a good salesperson? Well, I'm going to assume, Mr. Dealer, that that salesperson would say, hey, great to hear that you have some interest in the Honda Sonata. Have you seen it before? Have you test drive it? Etc., etc. I'm sure the next step would probably be taking them over to the section of their lot in which they could actually see Hyundai Sonatas. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go into inventory here. And let's go ahead and take a look at one of the Sonatas. Let's go ahead and go through the showroom first. And here are some of the models, right, that would be on your lot. So let's identify the Honda Sonata here. Let's go up into the car field. And let's go ahead and click on the 2015 Sonata. So now you're the salesperson again speaking with the consumer about this model and how great it looks, and hey, there's a lot of options in the colors. The gray ones are in the left corner. We have some white ones, etc., etc. You can be able to really let the consumer feel as though they're, getting the right experience with that customer. Well, when they decide, okay, well, let me see which red ones do we have, or which ones do you have of this trim level, we can go ahead and check out the inventory that they have on the lot, right? The same thing of how the website's going to work. So now we're just looking at the Sonatas. Remember, we're in the northeast corner of the lot looking at Sonatas as a salesperson, while we're here looking at Sonatas. Well, now that particular salesperson might say that, hey, let's go back to the office and write this up and see what opportunities are there. Well, the customer is going to say, whoa, I'm not ready. I just saw the Sonata. I might be back tomorrow or sometime next week. Okay, great. Well, that consumer, I'm going to assume, is still going to want to do their own research. So they come back to the website, right? And they do this same search that we're doing, and they start looking at Sonatas again online. Well, when they come back to the home page, they're going to see, oh, wow, that's the Honda Sonata that I talked to the car salesman about, as well as the same one when I went home and looked at on the site for Sonata information. This is the car. Right, so I'm able to see the car. The great thing that you can see here, Mr. Dealer, is that we're outlining the various cars that are in your lineup, right? Because we identified this consumer as a Sonata shopper. But we're also showing the Sonata first, right? We can learn more about that vehicle. We can engage with the inventory again and see what they have. But when you scroll down, look at that. Talks about how many Sonatas you have in stock. Right now you guys have 93 in stock. It outlines the current specials and incentives, just like your salesperson would have done with that consumer, saying, hey, we currently have a lease out there for $129 a month if you're interested. So this is identifying that opportunity. And one thing that a really good salesperson would also bring up is the various experiences that they've had selling the Sonata to other families, right? So here's some reviews most recently done by a Hyundai Sonata purchaser, right? So that would be, hey, I just put a family of 4 into a Hyundai Sonata, or I just put a businessman in there. They like it. They had a great experience. That's what the salesperson would say. But that's now what your website is saying. So think about this, right? We're outlining the main model that they had engaged upon from the site. We're also showing them the inventory levels that you guys have, just like the good salesperson would, informing them of the specials that are unique to your store, as well as the ones that are available in the OEM space for Hyundai USA, and finally talking about the experiences that past shoppers have had, right? This is all great information. But the thing is, that not everyone comes in for this specific model, right? Some people will go in and say, you know what, I'm thinking about getting a used vehicle, and hey, they have deals, right? What's on your front line at the dealership today? You talked to me about a Nissan Altima that was on the line, right? So here's that same Nissan Altima sitting here waiting for us on the left-hand side. So as a consumer, we'll say that I'm interested in that car. So I'm going to go check it out, look at the photos, see if this vehicle's right for me, right? It looks nice. It looks like it's certified. That's an advantage there. I'm just checking out the information, seeing the pricing, etc. But you know what? Maybe this car is not for me. Maybe I have to go put some food on the stove, and I'll come back to this later, right? So I close out my browser. I come back to the site later in the day to show my wife the comparison between maybe the Altima and the Sonata. But this time, instead of showing her the same vehicle that I just was engaging on, it's saying Honda Sonata again. Forget the competition, right? So picture this, Mr. Dealer. How many times have consumers come in to buy a used car and you find out that they can qualify for a new car? And you have that salesperson push them that way to really let them experience a brand new vehicle, or vice versa, right? Someone that's coming in for a new car, they thought they could qualify, and then you got to push them back to a used vehicle. Well, this piece right here is the ability to suggest what vehicles they should be offering, just like a salesperson would be. Now, we call that suggestive selling, right? So we're showing a consumer something that they've considered, but here's something that might be better for you, right? So again, customizing this verbiage here, forget the competition, is up to you as far as what you want to say. Customizing the price point and the information that's in place here in the top left about the Sonata is yours to display as well. And those are the major aspects of what you can do on the suggestive selling component, right? Now, granted, any of these vehicles that we could engage with, right? If it's a Santa Fe customer that's interested in looking at the Santa Fe, we can do the same experience for every Santa Fe consumer, right? So I'm going to be a Santa Fe consumer in this example again. I'm looking at the Santa Fe, I'm checking it out. I see that you have a good offer here. You got some bonus cash, $500. I'm interested in this model, right? I'm going to go and to tell my wife, for some reason my computer crashed, right? When I come back to turn the computer back on, come to your website, what do I see? Again, the Santa Fe experience only. Looking down here, the same carousel updated to be the Santa Fe, right? No longer the Sonata, because the last model we interacted with was